Welcome to the Dr. Lake Show. I'm so glad that you've chosen to be a part of this special program. Today, I've brought members of my staff, and we want to talk about some of the things that we do and the challenges that we face. So I want you to welcome Nicole Montez. She is our lead case manager. Andre Advent, he is one of our substance abuse counselors. And Daisy Palacio, she is our administrative assistant. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey, good to have you here with us today at our show.
Pleasure to be here.
When you guys were interviewing for this position, what prompted you to even apply for it?
Well, I'll start off. I applied to be a case manager because it's a need in the community to connect people to different resources that they may need. So I felt that there was a great need to assist with that. And this organization provided that for me.
So, a part of what we do with Imtastic Family Counseling Services, I have a private practice where I see clients privately, but we also reach out to the homeless population in 3 different localities around the Inland Empire. So, I wanted someone who was not afraid of getting and mixing with that population, someone that was bilingual, and somebody that really loved her community. And Nicole, you stood out. You came highly recommended. You've been with me for how long?
I've been with you for almost a year doing this line of work, but it's amazing. I love it.
How about you, Andre?
Well, I was working at a rehab center, and unfortunately that place, they were closing that facility down, so I kind of just was praying on things and kind of asking, my higher power, what I'm going to be doing next. And then eventually you had just happened to call and say, hey, would you be interested in working with me? Would you be interested in this, that, and the other thing? And we had been talking about things in the past, and it seemed like everything just seemed to work out the way it was supposed to. And I was kind of looking more for a change in atmosphere. I had worked with different type of clientele, and so this gave me an opportunity to work with a population I've never worked with before. And it's been definitely a blessing.
Glad you're here as well.
Thank you.
Daisy, how about you? We've had an interesting little experience together.
Yeah, well, I actually thought you were a medical doctor when I applied. And I have previous medical experience, like with billing and office experience. So I came under that impression. Now, when I got here, obviously, I realized it was something completely different. But I liked it. I love the idea of what you do, what Imtastic is, and I wanted to be a part of it. So,
in fact, Daisy was one of about 10 applicants who applied for the position as administrative assistant. And I was really impressed with you, Daisy. And I think you had an interview like on a Wednesday, and I called you back like on a Thursday the next day. And you quickly came back, and I brought the other candidate that I felt I was impressed with as well. And I just felt like you were the perfect fit. You didn't say you weren't willing to learn new things. You were willing to do whatever it took to learn, teach yourself new things. So what are some of the things you do as an administrative assistant for Imtastic Family Counseling Services?
Well, I do marketing. I do like bookkeeping, and I'm in charge of all the ordering, scheduling, and creating, whatever forms we need. So,
Are you finding it challenging?
No.
You love it?
I love it. I've been learning a lot, and it's awesome.
Dre, what are some of the things you do as a substance abuse counselor and working with the homeless population?
The main thing I get to do is just plant seeds. A lot of these individuals have long time usage histories and many other obstacles in their life. Naturally, nothing's going to be changed overnight, but I do get an opportunity to help them maybe look at some things differently, get into some solution-based stuff versus living in the problem. That's the big thing I mostly work on with a lot of these guys, is motivational interviewing and kind of living and getting out of the past and getting on what are we going to do now, because the past is the past, but what can we do now about about changing things in their life. And so I think one of the biggest unfortunate stipulations is with the homeless population is they feel there's no hope for them, and then they can't change, and that that they chose this lifestyle, and that might be I won't even say that's the case. A lot of them. My biggest thing is they're people too. And unfortunately, the homeless aren't treated all the time like they're people. They're treated as as less thans and whatnot. And so, but if I'm being honest, at one point in time, I had that same stereotype. I looked at them as less than, and I looked at them as something down. I thought I was better than them until I started volunteering years ago with the homeless population. And my pastor has been very instrumental in my life, helped me see things a lot differently. I had to change my own sneaking thinking and look at things differently. So now I get the blessing of being able to help them look at themselves maybe the way society doesn't always see them.
That's so true, Dre. I would drive and we see them on the freeways with signs asking for money. I've driven down nice neighborhoods and I've seen them in parks, on benches, under the freeway overpasses. And from time to time, I would go into my pocket and I would give them something. And I just felt impressed, like I wanted to do more. I wanted to leave a mark in this community. Nobody really spends a lot of time and energy working with that population because we look at them as hopeless or not worth our time. So I'm glad, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to work. I saw a conviction that you cared about the population and those who we would simply write off. What's some of the things you do? What are some of the things you do, Nicole?
Well, I'm here to assist Andre and just try to motivate clients to seek the resources. Like he said, they're not willing to receive counseling because they feel that there's a stigma behind that.
So talk about the sites that we are actively doing work with the homeless population. What are those sites?
Okay, so we have an office in San Bernardino, and we also have one here in Riverside. And these offices are located in places that actually need the most help. So the office in San Bernardino is actually located in the heart of San Bernardino, of the heart in San Bernardino. So that's the perfect place, and we're actually where our location, and there's a homeless shelter that we're partnered with an agency that has a homeless shelter, and they refer many clientele that are in need of our help.
That shelter down in San Bernardino, it houses overnight 75
Correct.
Men.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some other agencies that are attached to that mission.
Correct. So
what are they?
So the place is called Central State Lutheran Mission. And aside from providing the emergency shelter for men, they do provide other types of resources like supportive housing. So it's housing for individuals that are living with HIV and AIDS. They also have different types of programs for people in the community, like ESL classes.
Children's, they offer children's schooling for children. They also partner with like many other shelters that are around for feeding and offering resources maybe that aren't too, they're not too much out there these days. Right. A lot of the resources out there. So when you have these kind, they're used real heavily because there just isn't many resources out there for, unfortunately, this population to find these days. And we also get involved we do a lot of outreach work, and we get a chance to go out to the parks and, pass out sandwiches and talk with the population. And I think that's a big piece of it too, is sometimes they just want someone to talk to. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people see them and they get scared or they run or, because they don't act the way they expect them to act. We get an opportunity to go out there and speak with them. And we also get the chance to work at a church here in Riverside. And we get to volunteer at a Kansas Baptist Church. And
Kansas Avenue.
And we do a lot of crisis intervention there. It's more crisis work, just people coming in, whatever their struggles are. But we get an opportunity to meet a lot of the people, that are looking for help. But as Nicole was talking about earlier, I'm just afraid for help because there's no trust. They've been, screwed over, so to speak, or they just life has not been easy for them. So trust is a big issue for a lot of them, and we've got an opportunity to build that trust with them.
Exactly.
So Daisy, we're getting calls from the community with regards to the homeless population. How many calls do you think we're getting a week?
We've been getting multiple calls a week from individuals that are interested and want to know more about the resources that there are and what we can guide them towards to receive the help.
So to our viewing audience, we've partnered with two agencies, a church and a mission, who already had a program to serve the homeless population. The church that we are associated with, called the Kansas Avenue Seventh-day Adventist Church, they have a food program every Tuesday,
And showers.
food and showers. So we added the mental health component to that program and a case management component to that program. Down at the mission down in San Bernardino, they have multiple programming, but they didn't have the mental health component. And so we've added that element to their program as well. As Dre has said, we go out to the parks, we canvass, we pass out sandwiches, water when it's hot, and just talk one-on-one with the population there with an attempt to get them into a program or make a referral to the programs that we're associated with, where they can get off the streets and we can try to address some of those physical needs that they might be having. What are some of the challenges that we're facing as we work with this population?
One of the probably the biggest challenges, number one, I talked about earlier, is the trust, is getting them to trust you. A lot of them think we're just there to get numbers and we're not there to help them. A lot of it too is sometimes is the resources that are out there. It's hard sometimes.
To give them referrals to places that they may actually need. In terms of housing, that's one of the main things that they're looking for, somewhere to stay, somewhere that's safe, and that's what they want from us. And sometimes we have limited resources in San Bernardino County and Riverside County.
And we have been attempting to establish a presence in the city of Fontana. That's been really challenging. Speak to that challenge that we're having.
Well, for Fontana, one of the challenges that we have had is there's a smaller population of homeless individuals in Fontana, but we have been serving low income. And from what we've experienced, they're one of the populations that actually want to receive the services, but they're reluctant because of time constraints in their schedules.
Time constraints. I'd also say we don't right now have a facility in Fontana, which that is a future goal. And naturally that's a goal that will be met one day. But a lot of these things take time, money, something that's will come in time. I understand that. Because there is a high demand for that need in the city of Fontana, just like all these other cities, and there's just not a lot of resources out there, especially there. As far as if I'm correct, there are no shelters in Fontana that I can think of. There's programs out there helping, naturally, but it'd be nice to futurely have our own building and have something where we can have homeless and low income people come and get these resources that they need. With that comes, we need a lot of assistance. That's one of our biggest. Me and Nicole talk a lot about the struggles out there. Is financially it's hard. It's not easy. I would say we've been blessed enough to have some people. I've even had friends help out. Like, hey, do you need peanut butter? Or hey, you need bread? Or hey, you need this? And which are big blessings. They seem like little things, but these are things that are huge for that population. For them to get a sandwich and a water, that might be their only meal for the day. And so when you don't always have the financial aspect of those means, it is hard. And it's frustrating, too. Because you want to help, but,
We have limited means.
And sometimes I'll have to tell myself all the time, and, slow down. Slow down. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going
Yeah.
to take some time. Slow down. Going nowhere real fast.
Yeah.
You know, but I believe it'll happen.
So you guys have heard me talk about long-term wanting to get a building, our own building, where we could actually serve and we'd be more in control of things. We can't establish anything in Fontana because it's been hard trying to secure a building or join another existing organization. We also have financial concerns. We've gotten some grant monies that last year. We got upwards of about $93,000 in grant money. But that's nowhere near enough to do a sustained service to that population in those localities where we are. So we're going to continue trying what we can do, and we're going to do it to the best of our ability. So I got one last question for the three of you, and not to put you on the spot, but why are you involved in this kind of work? What made you really want to get this kind of work under your belt?
Well, I actually grew up in San Bernardino, and one of the biggest things that my peers would say is, I'm trying to get out of here. Like, I don't want to be here. This place isn't for me. And I was like, what's going on? Like, why can't we work to improve the city so that others can come and we can help each other out? And the reason why I started doing this work is because I love my community, and this is one of the biggest demands, and people just don't realize that.
I'd say for myself, growing up with less than, growing up, in a pretty poor family and having not much. And then as I got older, I obtained a lot. And I think it completely changed my mindset, and I lost focus of what really was important in life, And so now it's kind of going back to this is more of a career to me. Other places I've worked with jobs. This is a career. I have an opportunity to do something impactful in people's lives, and my personal belief, that's the most important thing, is being of service to others. Because what more rewarding thing is there, in my opinion, is to be able to help somebody else. And I've had a lot of people in life help me. So I believe if I'm in a position now to be able to help people, then it's my responsibility to be able to go out there and help them any way I can. And so this was given to me as an opportunity, and I think it's pretty awesome. It's a new company, and I've never had an opportunity to grow with the company. Every company I've worked for was a company already established. So this is kind of like, as big as it is your baby, it's kind of, for me, it's like a little baby for me. And I get to be a small little cornerstone in it, and working with, two awesome, co-workers here, and having he's a pretty okay boss, It's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Daisy?
Well, for me, I honestly didn't see this. I've never worked in something like this, so coming here has been, like Dre said, a blessing, and it's a huge opportunity, and to reach out to the community, it feels great. I love it, and I've learned a lot, so it's amazing.
And you got a good boss too.
Yeah.
So Imtasic Family Counseling Services is a 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit. We do work with the homeless population, and we also do work with the low income as well. Guys, what are some of the success stories we've had in almost a year of doing this ministry?
Well, we've met with a couple of clients that have really progressed a lot. Like we mentioned before, we are actually partnered with a men's emergency shelter, so we've seen success stories like individuals actually getting out of the shelter and finding employment and finding housing. So,
I can think of one in particular. He was a young man who came from Cleveland. He came out here looking for work, and when he got out here, the job didn't exist. And so he came out here. He was a former meth addict. He was strung out, and he had no place to go. So luckily someone had directed him to the shelter. Long story short, he became a volunteer at the shelter. Eventually, I got a chance, me and Nicole got an opportunity to work with this young man, and now he's employed actually through the shelter, and he's sober now for, I want to say, over 5 to 6 months, completely turned his life around completely. He had a lot of grief and loss issues, and it's things like that where there's no amount of money, honestly, in my personal opinion, that can give you the rewards of something like that. When you see someone's life just completely spin around, you see them make them changes, and you see what they can really do. Because a lot of times, as me and Nicole talked about a lot, you can see what the potential that they have.
Yes.
And then when you see that potential and you finally get to see it flourish, man, that's just
Exciting.
yeah. I mean, and it's kind of like, I'll speak for myself. There was people that were instrumental in my life that used to tell me that kind of stuff, and I didn't believe them. There's no way that I could do the things that I do today. I never believed I could do that. I never thought I would be worthy to do things of that nature, but yet here I am being used by God to be able to be instrumental in other people's lives. And I never thought I could do that. And so now I get to see other people reward from somewhere where I got to reward from. Man, go ahead.
And the positivity that people show, we've actually we've come across people, with client in particular, that she's hopeful. Her faith is amazing. I don't know if you'd like to elaborate on that.
Well, and she comes every week and she gives us inspiration.
That's right.
And she gives us she builds on us. You know, there's a scripture I really like. It says, iron sharpens iron, a man sharpens a man. We're no better than any of those people, just like they're no better than us. But if we can help those people and they can help us, man, that's what it's about, is building on each other. If we can get past our, I'll speak for myself. If I can get past my selfish ways and get into selflessness, man, that's what it's about. And then it's about building those communities. So when we do one day have this building that is going to house and help who knows how many people, man, it'll all be worth, the time and effort that's being invested.
I think all of us here, we've gotten into this field because we have a genuine need to help people. And everything that I've always wanted to do has been about taking care of people who are less fortunate, who advocates for them, who stands up for them. And those are some of the things that drew me to ask you guys to be a part of what we're trying to do. And I got to tell you, I'm proud of all of you guys. You guys are out there, particularly you, Dre, and Nicole, more than I am. But I like to get my hands involved, and I did have a success story at the mission. I had 3 or 4 sessions with a guy who had some anger issues, couldn't get along with a lot of people, with anybody. And just talking to him and be able to reason and give him some wise counsel. And he left the mission and is doing well in another state, just totally on his own. And I feel good that I had a small part to play in helping to soften him up a bit, as we say in this work. What about you? You have kids, Daisy. What are you teaching them?
Well, I personally have shared a lot with them with what I do now, and I'm raising them to value what they have, because it's not easy, and it's just I want them to learn and appreciate what they receive and not take it for granted, because you see these situations and it's hard. So I want them to grow up, reaching out to the community as well, and being a part of this, helping others, not just be selfish, or think about, I want this, I want that, especially now, the way kids are growing, it's, we need to get them, open them up to giving.
During the winter months, I carry blankets and clothes, coats, gloves, shoes in my car, and every Saturday morning I know where they are in Riverside, and I get chocolate and hot chocolate and coffee and donuts, and I drive down, and it might take me an hour and a half, but they see my van coming, I'm like the Pied Piper, and I make them wait in line, and they'll say, "What you got for us, Doc? What do you got for us today?" And it's just it does my heart good to to be able to give them some temporary things that will make their life on the street a lot easier. Our goal, long range, guys, is to get a building. I like to be able to house them and provide things for them so that at the end of 3 months or 6 months, they are better able to take care of themselves. That's our goal. I know we're going to do it. We're going to make our mark. And anything else you want to add to what we've been talking about with our challenges, our successes, about what we do as Impassive Family Counseling team members?
You got to be healthy if you want to help the sick.
I like that.
And so, if we're in the opportunity, we're in the healing business, but we also got to take care of ourselves, and it's great working with people who will help with that. We're not also too busy with our own lives to take a second and ask how we're all doing and stuff. And that just to me is important.
So, last but not least, we've been trying to get out there in the community. We've been doing health fairs. Nicole, how many health fairs have we done, to your estimation, so far?
We've done a couple. We've probably done maybe 5 resource fairs, and I believe it was Chino, Fontana, San Bernardino, so all over the county.
Do we have any other health fair coming up that we're going to be a part of?
We actually do. We have a health fair coming up in March. It's a resource fair for families, and we're going to be a part of that. Yeah.
And for our viewing audience, we have partnered up with Kaiser Permanente, and we've partnered up with Dignity Health. They are major providers of the grants that we've been able to receive. And you may be wondering again how you could be involved in the things that we're trying to do with the homeless population. We realize that everybody's not called to go out there and serve and work one-on-one, but you have something that you can do and offer. Everybody can at least pray for us. Everybody can sacrifice a cup of coffee and donate the cost of a cup of coffee to our cause, where we can continue to give hygiene kits and sandwiches and water and bus passes. Sacrifice a cup of coffee a couple days a week and go to mtasic.org, our website, and click on the donate button. That money will be used directly to services such as food, bus passes, hygiene kits. Write us well wishes. Give us some words of encouragement to keep us focused and encouraged on our task. And we look forward to continuing to make a big difference with this population in the Inland Empire. So there you have it. You've met the members of the Impassive Family Counseling Services team. We are trying our best to make a positive impact in the communities in the Inland Empire. If you are wondering how you could be of service to us or help, you could write us at mtasic.org. You could donate your time. We could use your manpower. We definitely could use your money, your resources. We would put it to good use. And we could use your prayers. We are committed to this, and we want to see the homeless population addressed in a significant manner to the point where there is none. Why can't we dream big like that? Once again, I want to thank you for joining us, the Dr. Lake Show. You stay tuned. We have some exciting things planned with you in mind, and we're going to present some programming that will be beneficial to your emotional health, your physical health, and even your spiritual health. And so until the next time, may God bless you real good.